After the Congo Crisis had slowly begun to wind down, the newly appointed president, General Mobutu Sese Seko, faced one of the most challenging tasks imaginable: consolidating power over a country shattered by decades of colonial exploitation, civil unrest, and political intrigue. Congo, having gained independence from Belgium in 1960, had quickly descended into chaos. The assassination of Prime Minister Patrice Lumumba, the rise of secessionist states like Katanga, and the violent conflicts between regional militias left the young nation in a state of near-perpetual instability. By 1965, Mobutu had effectively seized control of the central government through a military coup, presenting himself as the strongman capable of bringing order to a fractured country. One of his first major priorities was addressing the presence of foreign mercenaries who had been instrumental during the Congo Crisis. These soldiers, many of them veterans of European and African conflicts, had been hired by various factions, often with the tacit approval of foreign governments, to fight in battles that the fledgling Congolese army could not manage on its own. Among them were well-known figures such as Bob Denard, a French mercenary who had served in conflicts across Africa, and Jean Blackjack Schramm, a Belgian officer with decades of combat experience. Initially, mercenaries were welcomed as a necessary tool to restore order, especially during the Simba Rebellion. The Simbis, a radical leftist faction inspired by Lumumba's vision of socialist Congo, had seized large swaths of territory in the eastern Congo. The rebels executed soldiers, administrators, and civilians who opposed them, creating widespread fear. Mercenaries played a critical role in recapturing these regions, often operating with brutal efficiency and little oversight. Yet, once the rebellion was defeated, Mobutu sought to assert his authority and reduce the country's dependence on foreign soldiers. He ordered the remaining mercenaries to return home after receiving payment for their services, signaling a shift from reliance on outside forces to central control under his government. Among the mercenaries, this decision caused unease. Bob Denard warned Jean Schramm that Mobutu planned to dissolve the last remaining mercenary units. Schramm, already a loyal supporter of former Prime Minister Moïse Tshombe, the secessionist leader of Katanga, viewed this as a threat. Tshombe had been a central figure during the Congo Crisis, leading Katanga's bid for independence with the support of mercenaries and Western powers. After his exile, Tshombe became a symbol for those who opposed Mobutu's centralization of power. In 1967, Tshombe's fate would escalate tensions even further. Arrested under mysterious circumstances in Algiers, he died shortly thereafter, officially of a heart attack. Many suspected foul play, believing that either Mobutu or foreign intelligence agencies had orchestrated his death to eliminate a potential rival. For Schramm and his loyalists, Tshombe's death was both a personal loss and a political provocation. It became the catalyst for a violent and audacious plan to launch a mercenary-led campaign against Mobutu's government aimed at destabilizing the Congo and potentially restoring Tshombe's influence. Schramm rallied the remaining mercenaries, along with Congolese loyalists to Tshombe. Together, they launched surprise attacks on key towns in the eastern Congo, including Stanleyville, Kindu, and Bukavu. These attacks were swift and brutal, aimed at overwhelming local garrisons and creating chaos. Reports from the time describe indiscriminate violence. Soldiers and civilians were killed in their homes, and families living with military personnel suffered immensely. The attacks highlighted the lethal combination of military skill and ruthless determination possessed by the mercenaries. Despite the initial shock, the campaign quickly encountered problems. Schramm's forces were under-resourced and poorly coordinated. Mobutu's Congolese troops, motivated by loyalty to the central government and increasingly well-trained, launched counterattacks. Stanleyville, a strategically critical city along the Congo River, could not be held. Schramm was forced to retreat to Bukavu, a resort town near the border with Rwanda, where he prepared for a prolonged defense. Bukavu became the site of Schramm's last stand, lasting 7 grueling weeks. Mercenaries and loyalists dug in, preparing for a siege, but faced numerous challenges: shortages of ammunition, difficulty obtaining supplies, and constant pressure from Mobutu's forces. Battles raged in and around the town, with intense firefights, ambushes, and street-by-street fighting. The footage you are watching captures these moments, providing a rare, first-hand view of life inside a mercenary-led operation. It shows the chaos, fear, and tactical skill of soldiers fighting against an organized and determined military. Over time, the Congolese forces systematically gained the upper hand. Schramm's men, increasingly isolated and weakened, could not withstand the continuous assaults. By October 29, 1967, the mercenaries were decisively defeated, forcing Schramm and the survivors to flee across the border into Rwanda. This marked the end of one of the last major mercenary campaigns in the Congo, effectively closing a violent chapter of foreign intervention in the country. The broader context of these events is essential to understand their significance. The Congo, rich in natural resources such as cobalt, copper, and uranium, was a strategic prize during the Cold War. Western and Eastern powers alike had vested interests in the country, and mercenaries often operated as both soldiers and political tools, serving the ambitions of multiple actors. Make sure to subscribe to History Safe for more restored color footage from history. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and leave a comment down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts.